Welcome to the House of Hoosier podcast. I'm your host, AJ Guyton, sitting here with my man, Austin Render, ready to talk about some Hoosier basketball before we get into our pod with the Hoosier leader, Xavier Johnson. How you doing over there, Austin? Background's different every time we meet. How's it going, man?
It's good. It's good. We're back at home for Thanksgiving, but glad to talk about some Indiana basketball. Maybe someday I'll get an actual background that stays the same. But this is a 5-0 Indiana team that, AJ, I don't know if you ever did it, but they have back-to-back games held their opponents lower than 21% shooting from the field. This defense, I don't know if we could say for real definitively, because they're still playing lesser talent, but they've looked really good.
Yeah, they look really good. And I don't know if we've ever held any teams to that percentage and those points at a period of time. We all have always good defensive teams, but they have taken Indiana basketball defense to another level. And what you're doing is they're doing what they're supposed to do, as people say. They're handling their business against teams they're supposed to handle their business against. And if you think back in the past, you have teams that come in that you're supposed to be pretty good, that hang in the game and make it a tougher game. So, they're doing what they're supposed to do. So all the naysayers out there who say they haven't played anyone, they got a nice schedule coming up with some good challenges on it. And we'll get to see them from another standpoint when they play those 3 games. But everybody's chipped in defensively. It looks like the help is better, the containment is better. It helps having 6'8" guys, 6'9" guys in the back line. But those guys are also on the perimeter, moving their feet, keeping guys out of the lane. Then at the end of the day, what we've talked about for the last 2 years, a year and a half, is they're getting the ball off of the defensive backboard and they're getting out and they're turning those defensive stops into points. That's the biggest difference that I saw. I know Archie's teams were decent defensive teams, but there was more of a slower pace once they got the rebound. I think Coach Woodson is allowing these guys to hit the lanes, shoot threes on a break. Got Xavier Johnson speeding down the middle of the lane who can finish through contact. It just gives this team another dimension, and I'm excited to see what they do against the Orangemen in Syracuse.
The one issue this team has had, or at least the most glaring one, is turnovers. They have really struggled with that. Had 27 in the win over Louisiana. It feels like sometimes they're just maybe moving a little bit too fast. Do you see that? Do you see anything when you watch that you feel like is contributing to those turnovers?
Well, I think a lot of these teams in the country, as the type of basketball people play shifts to more ball dominant basketball is what I call it. I just see a little over dribbling when you have guys playing pick and roll who not really that great at it yet, as they're learning how to play pick and roll. You see them use the screen multiple times, but while they're dribbling, guys are standing around, and then the clock starts to eat you up a little bit, and then you're forced to make a play. So you see guys starting to speed up because the ball isn't moving, it's not changing sides, and guys aren't able to take advantage of it changing sides by getting in the paint. So it just speeds everybody up, and I think a little bit more ball movement as they go to, I think they run a little flex offense. I like that when they run a little flex, because at least the ball moves and people touch it. I think that's something that, we talked to Xavier that he can, fix in the future. He can slow down, stay on the court, less foul trouble. Then, Finney is out injured. He was one of the guys that I saw was, putting the ball on the ground a little too much. But then Lander came in the game, and he's just finding his way as well. So I think the position is slowly developing at the point guard position, but we can't win like that when we play better defensive teams, when they're able to control the ball handler and play and switch all 5 spots and stymie us offensively. So got to get better at that.
There haven't been many games in Trayce Jackson-Davis's time at IU where he's been the 3rd leading scorer and Indiana still comfortably wins the game. It does feel like there's the addition of Miller Kopp and Xavier Johnson and Tamar Bates, or Scoop, however you want to refer to him. These guys are taking some of the load off of Trayce Jackson-Davis to where he scores 11 points against Jackson State, and there was never a doubt into this game. Now, part of that is Jackson State, but it does feel like, AJ, this team is deeper and this team is more balanced than it has been in the past.
Definitely deeper, definitely more balanced, but definitely able to be more interchangeable and play and toy with different lineups. I think Mike Woodson is using these games to work on that, to see what works, to see where the plus minus chart ends up with certain lineups on the floor. And then that just bodes well for Trayce Jackson. I mean, if he can average 16, 17 points, 9, 10 rebounds a game, that's great. Even though it's a couple points down from where he was, I think 19 something last year, that means other guys are contributing, man. And then there are going to be moments where he does dominate. So all the good teams you look historically, if they've always had a 1-2 punch, or even the better 1-2-3 punches, even better guys coming off the bench that are not afraid and are improving each game. Cop is improving each game. Tamar Bates is improving each game. Jordan Geronimo is improving each game. They're all getting that confidence level. Now it becomes, from a coaching standpoint, it becomes a difficult decision of who and when and what time. And are you holding someone back from being more productive at the end of the day? So you got to, as we get in the Big Ten season, he's going to eventually have to tighten it up. But I like what I see so far.
So Mike Woodson was talking this week about how anytime there's more than 12 turnovers, that's the number that he wants this team to be at or under. Anytime there's more than 12, the team has to run that many over 12 down and backs. Is that something that he took from Bob Knight? Is that something you did? When did Bob Knight make you guys have to run up and down the floor?
Really, the only time we had to run when we lost to Purdue, or we lost to Michigan, or we lost to teams that he didn't want to lose to. So, Bob Knight, we definitely we were a team. We didn't over dribble a lot. So there was no reason for us to ever have a whole bunch of turnovers unless we were playing a team like Kentucky who pressed us, and he knew our turnovers were going to be a little higher because it's more pressure. So, but in the Big Ten, you had great schematic coaches that defensively just contained and wanted to make things difficult for you. So, but I don't believe Coach Woodson is running anywhere. I do.
He says he's running with them.
That's what he say, but I'm quite sure he do his sprints on the treadmill at a speed that's more comfortable for him. But but those players are definitely are running forward. What I don't like, and I didn't bring it up to Xavier on the pod, is I don't want to make it a mental thing, because you want guys to continue to try to create and play for one another instead of having to think about it, which stymies the offense anymore. So it's a delicate balance, but I think they'll shore it up. Remember, these are all new players. This is the fifth game of the season. They're all still getting to know each other. So you're going to see some miscues early in the season that you hope to shore up by December.
Have you seen things under Mike Woodson compared to the previous regimes that have looked better offensively? Because for the flaws that Archie Miller had in his 4 years, the team was typically pretty good defensively. Mm-hmm. So it's not shocking to see this team still be good on the defensive end. But have you seen anything offensively in the first 5 games that says, all right, I'm seeing Mike Woodson make some changes here?
Well, we talked about it earlier, man. The number one thing is these guys are turning their defense into offense. And that's what you have to do at this level. You cannot be a team. And I think that was a struggle the last few years of walking the ball up the court and playing against a set defense every single time down the court. That's going to eventually happen near the end of the game, under 13 minutes each game, as the game tightens up. You're not going to just be running out. This ain't the AC. This ain't the Pac-10 or the ACC. Like, it slows down in the Midwest and in the Big Ten. So we have to score and be opportunistic off of our defense. And that's the one thing I noticed. I mean, even in the misses, when they're throwing the ball ahead, shooting threes on a break, I see bigs, lane, rim running, getting to the rim, alley-oops, drawing defense in, the transition defense in and getting shots from outside. And I see guards penetrating and getting in there and pushing the ball. So that's the biggest change that I see offensively, which is allowing our scoring average to creep up there a little bit, which is where we were talking about getting up in the 70s and the 80s, where we need to be and in order to be successful. So those are the changes I see. I think right now, like, we're averaging 68 points a game. We got to get that up to 75, in my opinion.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot here. 5 games in, about a sixth of the way through the season. Who's your early team MVP here in the first 5 games?
early team MVP in the first 5 games, we got Xavier Johnson, we got Cobb, we got Bates, we got TJD, we got Race Thompson. Who's the other starter?
Parker.
Parker and Parker Stewart. Off the bench, we got still TJD. The way he's playing right now his numbers are not what they were last year, but his impact is big, is more than it was last year. You can see that he was in the weight room this year. He's getting his physically. He's a lot leaner. He's faster. He's recovering quicker defensively. He's making different plays. I even seen him go over the other shoulder a couple times, finish with a reverse layup with the right hand. Like, these are all things that I see he's improved in. So he's still the most consistent player. So right now he's still my early season MVP. I think Race is right behind him. I like what I see with Race. I think he's steadily improving in that role. I would love him to continue to embrace the Draymond Green type role, facilitating, attacking, being the best defender on the floor, rebounding, competing, and bringing energy to the team. And then if he can stay on the floor, Xavier Johnson was right behind him. And I think Tamar Bates and Miller Kopp are still finding their ground. But it's nothing but the ceiling for Tamar. And I think Miller Kopp is really finding his rhythm with the team. Parker Stewart shooting, I think he made 7 out of his last 10 threes. So he's starting to find his rhythm, and all these parts are going to be necessary to succeed.
It's scary to think that this Indiana team, and I know IU fans may not want to believe it yet, but they're certainly a better 3-point shooting team than they have been in past years. And Parker Stewart's a big reason for that. Like you said, he's been hot lately. I like your pick of Trayce. It's not just his production, it's the energy that he brings to the game. It feels like he has taken it up a notch, and it's interesting hearing some of the conversations he has had with Mike Woodson about how Mike has basically told him, you can give me more. Right. You can give me more than what you were giving this team. And he has taken it up a notch, and you could tell. And like you said, he stays on the floor. I mean, we've seen some guys get in foul trouble this year, and part of it is because some of the mid-majors don't have guys who can really compete down low with Trayce Jackson-Davis, but he hasn't gotten in foul trouble yet this year. He stays on the floor. He gets his job done. And I think sometimes availability is the best trait for somebody in sports, and he is always available for this team.
Yeah, it's his experience. I think he understands. And me as a player, I understood that. We talked to Xavier about after you get your first foul in the first half, it's position defense time. We can't gamble. We can't go after the balls the way that we were when we got 0 fouls or only got 1 or 2 going into the second half. When you're an important player, you have to really scale back, contain, and take the opportunistic steals and make the opportunistic plays instead of being the aggressor. And that's what I think Xavier talked about, how he's always trying to get it back after he's made a mistake. It's like, yeah, you'll get it back, but it might not be that possession. It might be 3-4 possessions later. You can't think like that. You think, hey, I'm gonna get it back, but I gotta contain and stay in the game. So I think Trayce is one of the masters at staying in the basketball game in order to be productive. And what's helping him is the emergence and the availability of Michael Durr. He's able to go to the bench a little bit. He's able to rest a lot more. I think one spell he was out for like 6 game minutes. And I'm looking around like, but Michael Durr was producing a little bit. They getting his feet wet. So that just helps Trayce come back in the game with mounds of energy. He can still improve in his decision-making and passing out of the double teams, making quicker decisions and making quicker moves in the post, like I've seen him make a couple times. But I think those are things that he's been working on, and that will come eventually. So, but yeah, he's been most consistent, and he should still be everybody's team MVP at this point of the season.
And we should mention he has 18 blocks in the first 5 games of the season. That is remarkable. He had 38 last season in his 27 games. So he's averaging over 3.5 blocks per game so far this season, which has been mighty impressive for Trayce Jackson-Davis. And as we wrap up, did you ever play at Syracuse?
Never played at Syracuse, but I played against Syracuse in our 3rd game in Maui back in 1999, and it was the worst basketball game I ever had. And the real reason why I was exhausted, like it was like we had an intense game against Kansas State to begin, knocked them out. We knocked out Andre Miller and Arnold Motola in Utah the 2nd game, and then we played against Jason Hart, Eton Thomas, and Syracuse in the championship game. And on a small court like the Maui court, that zone felt like it had 8 people out there. But I never got a chance to play in the Carrier Dome, man, as I always wanted to, because it just looks like a phenomenal atmosphere. But that Syracuse zone, aside from the 1987 championship game, that Syracuse zone has caused Indiana basketball some problems.
It's caused some fans some pain over the past few years.
I remember Victor Oladipo junior year, and I watched him whittle against the zone, but I understood it because I played against it. So I'm like, damn, I know how I feel, especially as a smaller guard. Yogi got, they always put a big, long, athletic player on the wings. Yeah. Can't see.
Michael Carter-Williams was the guy.
Oh my God. Yeah. And
he was a 6'6" point guard and up against Jordan Halls and Yogi Ferrell. There was no chance.
Incredible. Like, people don't understand that. So when I'm watching, I'm like, damn, this is not the matchup that we needed in going in the Sweet 16 or whenever that was. So, but I think this Indiana team will play well against it. I think it'll be a good challenge for Mike Woodson. I think it's a great road challenge, man, to really test, the mettle of this, the mental toughness and the improvement of his Indiana team. So I'm excited to watch it.
Well, now I got to know, since you played against it, you've watched it now. If now that you've had a lot of years to watch that zone, how do you beat it?
You have to make great decisions getting the ball into the middle of the floor. You have to make quick decisions once you get the ball in the middle, which they try to keep you from getting into the middle. That guy who gets in the middle has to either skip it to the weak side or dump it down into the short corner or shoot it or make a decision. And this thing has to happen in sync because of the length and the rotation that this zone makes. So, and you have to, low turnovers. We talked about that on the pod with X. Like, you got to keep your turnovers low, and you got to be patient against it. I played against Syracuse zone. I played against Temple zone when John Chaney was the coach at Temple, and they had the 2 best zones. And it all came down to patience. Like, against Temple zone, I think I was 0 for 6 or 0 for 7 up until the final 4 minutes of the game. Finally knocked in 2 or 3 shots in a row, and then we was able to beat them my junior year. My senior year, we knew what to expect against the zone, and we handled it pretty well. So it's all about just patience and knowing that, it's not at the end of the world if you don't get the best shot every single time down the floor. But also, the best thing to do is to play good defense and get the ball off the backboard and go score so the zone doesn't set up. That's one of the bigger keys that when I did lose against the zone, we didn't do very well. We didn't get stops. Every time we're playing against a set zone, and each time you miss, it gets a little bit more mentally exhausting to play against a zone that long and that athletic. So it's not an easy task, but I'm looking forward to see how Woodson and the boys respond to it.
Well, I figured I'd ask you now because I think we'll probably be back on to recap that action either Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. But that's a big game for Indiana next week as they travel up to the Carrier Dome, ACC Big Ten Challenge. They'll also have Marshall this weekend. That's a Saturday evening game, 7 o'clock. So we'll go ahead and let those games happen, and then we'll break them down when we see them next week. AJ, always great. You got a great guest here this week with the floor general for the Hoosiers, Xavier Johnson, coming on the pod here.
Absolutely. Looking forward to you guys seeing Xavier open up a little bit, talk about his experience in Indiana basketball, what drove him to Indiana basketball, and how he thinks the season is going. Good interview with X. Let me tell you guys a little bit about our partners over at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. If you haven't signed up with Bet Rivers yet, now's the time because they're offering a $250 match bonus for our first deposit. But what sets them apart is that they require just one play to turn your money into cash money. With their new Rush Pay instant approval, withdrawing your winnings is safer, more secure, and more reliable. With football season kicking off, get in on the action by going to betrivers.com today or by downloading the BetRivers iOS app. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, welcome to the House of Hoosier podcast. I'm your host, former Hoosier, AJ Guyton, man, and I got a special guest, the floor general for this current version of Indiana Hoosier, Xavier Johnson. What's up, X? How you doing?
I'm good.
Man, looking good. You know what I'm saying? I heard you're doing a little film study right now, getting ready for a couple games down the road. How's it looking?
It's looking good. I mean, right now I'm watching Syracuse right now. Trying to zone next week because we had a little trouble in the first half for our last game we played in the zone. So I mean we got to get better at that, getting more touches for Trayce as well.
Yeah, you coming from the Big East though, or no? You coming from the ACC, right? Pitt moved to the ACC. Did you get a chance to play against Syracuse while you were at Pitt?
Yeah.
Okay.
I play against almost 2 times a year, every
Okay.
year. Yeah, so I'm familiar with it.
Absolutely. So you got to lead the charge. Where the holes at in the zone, being patient, getting that ball in the middle, keeping your big man eating down there. So that's gonna be big, man. I'm excited about watching you guys compete in that way. But man, first one, I want to get to know you. The fans want to get to know you real quick. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. You can answer them rapid fire. Hometown.
Tampa, Florida.
All right. Dish looking most forward to on Thanksgiving.
Macaroni and cheese.
Mac and cheese, baby. Favorite hobby?
Video games.
Video games. All right, what you playing these days?
I play 2K and Call of Duty a lot.
Okay, you still on that Modern Warfare, or are you going to Vanguard right now?
Yeah, I'm on Vanguard right now.
The old guns. I ain't ready for the old guns yet, man. I'm still on Modern Warfare multiplayer. But favorite something you do that would shock most people. I'm gonna tell you mine. I can sing, like ones they just don't know. Like I'm R&B to the heart. Well, something about you that would shock most people.
I can cook a little bit.
You can cook, okay, all right. All right. Favorite NFL team?
New York Giants.
Giants. Oh, they was just talking about them dogging them today, wasn't it?
I don't like this.
It's not a good moment, but it's always the good thing about that is always a way up. So, favorite NBA team?
Brooklyn Nets.
Brooklyn Nets. Favorite NBA player?
Kyrie Irving.
And your greatest player of all time, NBA.
LeBron James.
Absolutely. All right, man. Let's get to know Xavier, man. I was excited about that. I ain't got a chance to meet him. I need to get down on campus, chop it up with the guards down there. But from the beginning, you were a Pitt Panther, man. You were on your way to a stellar career at Pitt, running the show for Jeff Capel, who I played against in college, how old I am. And great guy, excellent basketball coach. When did a change of scenery started to creep into your mind at that time?
I mean, once I started having trouble on the court, like rushing stuff, and like I can remember, I think it was against NC State where I got my last tech. Then I got benched. And it just started being trouble. And I mean, it just something that we couldn't figure out. So I just decided to move on from it.
Absolutely. What kind of troubles was you having? Was it like with the type of style y'all was playing, or is it frustrating you, forcing you to do things out of your character, or were you just like, man?
I mean, it was just like things that like that just took me off in the game. Like the other team would like do something to my teammate, and like I go over there and try to like fix the problem. Like, but I got texted for little stuff like that. Like, I mean, it was just little things, but I mean, it's cool.
You got wrapped up in it. You was like, it's almost like you fell too much in love with it. Like, I gotta get away from it because it's causing me to react. With situations I don't need to react to. But what were you looking for when you decided to make that move? What were you looking for initially in a program?
I just wanted to go to like a more like a more of a winning culture. I guess I was looking for a coach that would help me get to the next level and help me develop me into like a point guard that I want to become. And that's why I chose to come here.
Awesome, man. So tell me the story about how Indiana came into the picture. Like, what was your first understanding? Indiana's interested. Who made that call, and what did you think about it?
The first call was actually from Coach Kenyon. And we was talking, and I mean, it is Coach Kenyon. So he made me commit to Nebraska way back when I was a junior. So I mean, we already had a familiar connection with him. So I mean, he was talking to me when Archie was still the coach, and when I first got in the portal, and then after that, Coach Woodson became the coach. A week later, and then I got on the Zoom with him, and I absolutely fell in love with it.
That's good.
He's a real genuine guy. He's down to earth, and he tells you the real truth.
That's what you need. I like that. And prior to deciding, man, what did you know about Indiana basketball? Because I'm out of state. I'm only in Illinois though, and I know, that we have a lot of out of state guys that came in and make a huge impact. But you really don't understand Indiana basketball until it starts. What did you know prior to making your decision about Indiana basketball?
I knew it was an already established winning culture there. I knew it was a blue blood. That the fans were used to winning, always winning games because I knew they had 5 national championships.
Yeah.
Even during the Bobby Knight era, that was a big era. So
yeah,
I saw a lot in that.
Okay. And what was the final deciding factor that said, you said, you know what, I use the place for me after you zoomed in? Because you zoomed, you didn't really come visit. At that time, you weren't allowed to come on campus. Right. What was the ultimate deciding factor in you saying, you know what, I'm going to be in the Crimson Cream next 2 years?
I felt like it was a better environment for me that fit me. I mean, a lot of people tell me that. A lot of my family members tell me that my change, when I made the change, that it fit me perfectly. And I saw a lot in Indiana leading to that.
Do you personally feel the change in you maturing and, being more social? I know for athletes, I know me being on campus, one of my biggest regrets was because you get, as an athlete, you get bothered quite a bit, you know what I mean? And I wasn't an asshole to nobody, but I was like, hey man, I just want to get to class. I want to, I want to do my work. Do you find yourself being more open and having a better attitude than you had the last couple of years?
Yeah, I absolutely do.
That's good.
I mean, my freshman year, I was actually happy. That's why I made my best grades. But I'm honestly making my best grades now. I mean, I do my homework all the time.
Yeah, right.
I'm always seeing my tutors. I mean, my head all around is all about business being here. So
that's good.
That's the change. That's the good change about it.
Absolutely. What's it like playing for Coach Woodson, man?
I mean, it's a lot to learn. I mean, he's like he said, he really is hard on his point guard. He really is. He wants me to know everything. I mean, like all the plays. He wants me to call my own plays in the game. That's the way he doesn't have to call all of them. We got into it last game. I actually caught an out of bounds play, and he called one. And I was like, "Coach, you told me you want me to know the plays, so you got to call them." So I mean, he just looked at me when I walked off. So I mean, he just little things like that. I mean, he just wanted me to learn and be a point guard.
They say that, but then you put him in that situation where it's time for you to make the call. And he waving you off. It's like, no, man, this what you wanted. You wanted me to make the call. Let me make the call. What have you been pleasantly surprised about Coach Woodson's approach and style as it pertains to you and the team? What have you been surprised about?
I mean, I would say he's really a hands-on guy. He's not gonna yell at you. He's not gonna curse you out or anything. I mean, he's just like a hands-on coach. That's what players need, because he's gonna tell you when you're doing right and when you're doing wrong.
Definitely. You guys are fitting real nice, man. What do you think has been the key to developing that team chemistry so quickly?
I mean, just being around each other a lot. I mean, when I first got here, I mean, a lot of guys, all the guys were together, and we all went out to eat. We always just all around each other all the time, and we do a lot of things together. So I mean, we just do a lot of team bonding. Like one time we went bowling, and I mean, we just have fun as a team off the court as well.
Awesome, man. And which teammate as far as their game on the floor has pleasantly, I know TJD's the All-American. You knew what he was about. What teammate has pleasantly surprised you the most at how good they were?
I mean, it's 3 of them. I would say, I mean, all my teammates for real.
Yeah.
I would say, actually, it's 4 of them. It's Race, Trayce, Scoop, actually George Geronimo and Parker. Those are my 5. They honestly surprised me from what they do on the court.
Yeah, Geronimo, he's surprising all of us, because I'm like, from last year now, he taking contested threes, he knocking them in. I'm like, I was so happy he made that 3 he took. I forgot the game. He was making a little run, and Thank God he made that shot because Coach Woody would have had him. But that's how you become confident, man. You got to take chances, and that's what you do as a player as well. So, and TJD is your leader, man, All-American. Tell the fans what it's like to play with a guy like Trayce who gets so much attention on the floor, and have y'all developed that chemistry you need, that 1-2 punch, and are y'all working on it?
I mean, we're still working on it, but I mean, honestly, I think we're good right now. But we're going to get even better because as the season goes on, we just got more time to connect. Absolutely. And I mean, playing with a guy like him, I mean, he a lot of attention that gets a lot of attention. I mean, he's all about winning. He's going to do little things. He's going to rebound for you. He's going to block shots on the defensive end. He erases a lot of shots. And, I mean, he's just been a leader all around. Yep. He's always talking, always playing with guys, always being unselfish. And that's what we need out of him.
Awesome, man. That's what All-American does, man. We're speaking to my man Xavier Johnson, man, and one thing that's been it's been a staple of Indiana basketball, but I think yourself and the guys who came in and Mike Woodson took it to the next level is the defense, man. Guys are holding teams to 28% shooting from the field, 25% from three, about 53 points per game. What do you guys do in practice to get this defensive intensity to the level that it is right now?
I mean, from day one, I mean, it was always about defense. I mean, that was one of the first things he preached, and everybody's been locked in because everybody's on the same mission as well. I mean, we was always up to touch. We got to play full court defense and pick up games, and so it's always been taught when they first got here. And everybody wants to lock in and not let their man score. So.
Yeah, I can't let that point go by because I know there's a lot of coaches that listen to this podcast. As a former coach, you said in your pickup games, you guys are asked to pick up full court, making the pickup games competitive. Not that it's a lackadaisical, let's play 2-3 games, get out of here. The competitive level rise. So all you coaches out there, man, he said that, and that's most important. Their practices and their open gyms everything is competitive, and that's what translates to the game, man. But it's definitely something. But you brought a new dimension, man, and because last year I felt like the team could get stops, but they never scored off those stops because they didn't have a point guard that could catch it, get on the move, and go through people, around people, and in the lane and get involved. Do you feel like you bringing that dimension to the floor, getting our defensive points in like we need them?
Yeah. I mean, that's what my game is really about. I mean, I play defense, and when we get a stop, we run it because that's the play style I like, and that's the play style Coach wants as well.
All right. Sound like you play a little too much defense because you're always in foul trouble, man. Like, what do you attribute into?
I be mad when I get my turnover, so I be trying to make up for them. So that's my fouls lead to because I be getting frustrated. So I mean, I got to learn how to control that, and I did good in the last game. So
now you'll get it, man. It's just about. I always tell my daughter, I got a daughter that plays now, man. I get my first foul, I ain't fouling no more. Because I'm going to hustle. I'm going to get my verticality on. I'm playing containment defense for the rest of the half. So just keep that in mind. Just contain, man. We need you on the floor. Because when we play Syracuse, we can't be playing guys that don't have as much experience as you. You're the only guy played against that zone. We got to have you on the floor. But I know you're going to get that under control. 5 games, 21 minutes a game because of the fouls. Averaging about 10 and 3. Talk to me about the areas you like to improve on to help take the team to the next level.
I mean, I'm still working on it, but I mean, I want to get more assists for this team.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I could put guys in a better spot. I'm watching more film on that, and I feel like I could score more for this team as well. Because I think leading in the Big Ten, we're gonna need more than just tracing and other people to score as well. So I mean.
Yes, sir. That's a great point, man. It's going to take a village, especially on them road games. They're brutal in the Big Ten, man. And going up to cold Wisconsin, cold Michigan, you need that experience, that speed, and that quickness, and to be able to create for others as the defense suffocates. So that's going to be important, man. I noticed one thing, you had a positive spirited exchange with Kenya Hunter on the bench. As a player, we noticed this kind of stuff, man. What was that conversation about? I don't know if you remember that. You got your second foul. I think he was kind of talking to him about what happened. But how does it feel to have a coach on the bench that you can really, really express yourself to, which it sounds like you may not have had in Pitt, but you were able to express yourself, get it out, and then you was able to move forward. I don't know if you remember that. You remember that little exchange? Like you just had a conversation. Yeah. What was that about?
I mean, I think it came like a second father, honestly.
Awesome.
And a mentor as well. Because off the court, I believe he wants the best for me. All our coaches want the best for everybody on the team as well. But everybody on the team has a person they can talk to as well. It's not just me, but it's good to have somebody like that as well, because he just wants the best, and he wants me to succeed and move past it. And they just want me to be better and be on the court. So
yeah, it's so healthy, man. That's why I saw it. I didn't look at it as anything negative, because it's time I played for Bob Knight. So it was time I wanted to scream and holler. But I looked over there and it was him. I'm like, nah, I can't do that to him. But every athlete needs that outlet, man. I love to see that, because I saw the relationship, him allowing you to express, him calming you down. Like, all right, it's all good, man. We get you back in there. You good. But I'm sure he was frustrated, because he like, man, you fouling, like you hacking. Stop hacking. We need you out there. So I love to see that, man. The competition stiffens in the coming days, though. You as one of the leaders on the team, what are you looking forward to seeing being taken to the next level from your team, since you're going to play against, I think you got Syracuse coming up, Nebraska, Wisconsin, and I think Manhattan, I think I saw on there as well. But those 3 out of 4 are brutal, man. What are you looking forward to seeing from your team in those 3 tough games?
I feel like we're going to be able to compete with a lot of good teams. I feel like we're on the look right now, but I feel like we're going to open a lot of eyes when we start playing the known teams.
Mm-hmm. Well, last thing I asked you, man, and what has been your experience in Indiana, being from Florida, man, and coming to the Midwest and playing? I know you played at Pitt as well. How are you happy with your decision, and how do you feel and judge Hoosier Nation as you are getting to know them and they're getting to know you? What's your experience been like with the people?
It's been good.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working with clean arms, and everybody's been nice to me. Everybody's been telling me how much they're happy I came here. I just love it all. And I'm gonna get my heart on the court. I'm gonna give it all.
You got 2 years, this year, next year. Okay, good. We're looking forward to seeing you develop, man, and continue to some big shoes to fill. Isaiah Thomas, myself, Yogi Ferrell, huge shoes to fill, man, but you're more than capable of doing it, man. So keep developing, stay on the floor. And we're looking forward to Hoosier Nation making a lot of noise this year, man. Excited about having you in the family. Happy we get to watch you develop over the next 2 years. Keep up the good work, man. Stay locked in and on the floor, man. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, that's our outro with Xavier Johnson, and one of the speediest point guards in the land, man. Let's continue to support Hoosier Nation, support our guys through thick and thin, man. Yeah, bless. Have a great Thanksgiving too, man, and get that mac and cheese, bro.
You too. I will. I wish I could get it from my mom, but I can't see it right now.
Absolutely.
In Georgia.
So you know where to get it from. You gonna know. All right, my man.